This
over
conference will now be recorded.
over 20 podcasts, and he's had everything from doctors to professionals and hockey players and everyone under the sun. They tell their story about sarcoidosis. And I reached out to him after I listened to the whole series. He's a biker like me. He likes to ride his bicycle. So we kind of connected right away, and he invited me to participate in a podcast. He knows what I've been through, so it'll be an interesting story. It might be a long podcast.
Well, what we'd like you to do is once that link for that podcast is out and available.
Yep. Oh, you bet I'll share it.
But share it with us at ANCAN too, because maybe we'll have you do a little blog post and we can get it out to all our ANCAN people and help educate them about sarcoidosis as well.
Okay.
So, you can send it to me, rd@ancan.org, and I'll work with you, or Alexa works with us. We'll work with you, and we'll turn it into a little podcast, into a little blog post, and we'll get it out on our Twitter universe and everything else. But this is exciting. Is there anybody else from who regularly attends this group who has done a podcast before with this fella?
I've tried to get a hold of him from the first meeting. I haven't gotten a response back, but other than that, no.
Okay, well, more power to. Go ahead, Wendy.
I was saying it's his loss because Spencer has a lot of information.
Well, maybe Kevin can put a good word in for you. How about that?
That'll
Spencer,
work.
how long ago did you try to reach him?
About 6 months ago.
Okay.
I know he's got a backlog though, so.
Yeah, he's starting his 2021 lineup, so that's when he started to reach out to me. I'm sure he's very busy.
Yeah, and so I'm not worried.
Okay, but no, I will share this group. I don't know why he wouldn't come to this group too, right? He knows a lot, but he can share, and everyone can benefit from his experience. And I think he's a news person in like Cincinnati or Chicago. I'm not sure exactly where, but we'll get into that when we have our conversation. And he has neurosarcoidosis. So he has it in his spinal column. And so he's gotten the numbness, the tingling, loss of muscle strength, and he lost most of his capacity to do biking. And they went through all the different treatments, the prednisone, the Remicade, and they've got it in remission. But he's got to stay mindful of that. It was a tough 2-year journey for him.
So he's still on the Remicade?
I don't know what he's on right now. I'd have to listen to the podcast again. He does discuss it pretty openly.
What's his name again, John?
Carlin, Carlin.
Okay. All right.
And his podcast.
One thing I forgot to tell you guys, and I've got to talk to Kathleen and Frank about this, we will let you know, is that we just partnered with a very well-known theater company in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, I should say. They're in Oakland and San Francisco. And once a month, we're going to be looking for a performer, any type of performance art. And then we're going to do a short interview with them, and then the audience is going to ask them questions. And we'd love to try and find somebody from your sarcoidosis community who'd be willing and comfortable doing a 15-minute performance. This is actually a great opportunity to showcase themselves. So if you hear of anybody, if you know anybody, please be in touch with us, because we're actually pretty excited about this. They can sing.
Are you going to put a link up about that so I can share it? Because I know some musicians that have sarcoid.
Yes. So let me tell you, what I'm going to do is I'll put the link to our new we got a brand new page on our website, and I'm going to put it in right now, and you can read about it on there. Copy link address, and we'll also be including it going forward in the reminders, and you'll see, and it'll be really good. This is a program that's been going on at this theater for some time, like about 18 months or so. And they came to us and said, would we be interested in hosting a show once a month with them? And we said, yeah, we'd love to. I just put it in the chat window. So, and so that's great. And if they're interested, they'll fill out the box. And then I've got a volunteer. One of my guys has volunteered to coordinate with the marsh, and so we're excited. So let's. I'm going to have to jump off in about 2 minutes, but what I'm going to do is jump off and tell the moderators on the call I'm supposed to be on that I've got to come back here. And so you'll lose me, and then I'll be back, and I'll stay with you until the end of the meeting, because we don't have Shasta. So whilst I'm gone, Wendy, you had something on your mind you wanted to talk about. So I think you should start talking.
Hi, I'm Wendy Schleier, and I'm from Rochester, New York, upstate New York. It was 1 degree wind chill here today, so it was really cold. I have neurosarcoid. I have pulmonary sarcoid. I have lymph node sarcoid and supposedly thyroid sarcoid. But all my sarcoids are not in remission. They say they're at a bay. That's their word that they have it here in Rochester. They do not, if I use the word remission, they tell me that is not the correct word to use. Because sarcoid, they tell me, will always be in my body, and it will be there the rest of my life till the day I'm buried in the ground. So what I have to say is that I have been so proud of Frank Riviera, Kathleen, and the ANCAN Shimmer Room here, that I want us all to get together, with our hearts and our minds, and have them on some kind of show like 2020 or something, because this has been so helpful in my life, and probably to there's probably been thousands of people that have come in and out of this group, that have left this group because a lot of times we go into remission, or unfortunately a lot of us die. So I just want to say thank you, and hope that I wanted to come to this group tonight, and see if there's any way that we can get together to do something, because it's really been on my mind a lot, that the help that I've been getting through this group, that I was not getting from my doctors. Does anybody have any thing they want to say about it? Does anybody agree with me?
Wendy, I have a
I
question.
do.
This is Trina.
I don't know where to start. I'd have to think about it.
Wendy, I have a question for you. This is Trina. You said you have sarcoidosis within your lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes. Where at?
Right near my lungs. It's underneath my right part of my lung. It's on top of my lung. And then they found another one recently. I'm not sure, somewhere like in my lung. I don't really understand it well, Trina, but
All right. So to back it up a little bit for us, can you explain what was the symptoms and how it was discovered?
well, I was at work. For a long time I was extremely exhausted. My heart was palpitating. I always they said that it was anxiety for years. Well, I went into the hospital because I fell, I hit my back. I had like 3 herniated discs in my back just from overworking. And I went in the hospital. It was a very scary event, of like most of us have been through. It's serious on here. I went to the hospital and I was breathing. I had kept on getting pneumonia every year, and I wasn't breathing right. So then they took a CT, an X-ray. They couldn't find anything. They sent me home. I ended up going back saying there's something wrong with me. I don't feel good. And the lady's like, well, we're going to send you home. You have anxiety. They went back to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And then they took a CT scan. They found that I wasn't breathing right. They asked me if I ever heard of sarcoidosis. I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I was so much in pain. And then I was in the hospital, and they sent me home again because they said that, it was just sarcoidosis in my lungs. And well, eventually I ended up having a brain bleed in my brain. It was pretty traumatic. I actually I used to have a very photographic, beautiful face. I was, I'm not being vain or anything, but it was very traumatic because my whole face has drooped and I can't.
So is that Bell palsy? Did they
No, they
discover
said it's
Bell
not
palsy?
Bell's
Because that's what it
palsy.
sounds like.
No,
Hmm.
they said it's not.
It's in the same family, you know that, right?
What?
Bell palsy and sarcoidosis is in the same family.
Well, they never said that to me. There's a lot of things that I just don't agree with them about from what I've learned in this group. So I have to deal with that because I have my fiance. I couldn't walk. I was stuttering. I had some serious issues. I had the lesions in my spine, which caused me to be totally remote with my doctors. I couldn't go to any of my appointments. And then I was on this group, and this beautiful doctor was on as a guest. And she said, from South Carolina, I think she was, and I can't remember her name. And I think about her in my head and my dreams every night. Wendy, you need to get out and exercise. You have to push yourself. Get out there and do something. And I was like, are you serious? I can't walk. I can't do anything. And she's like, you have to try, even if it hurts, you're in pain, because it will be the best thing for your neurosarcoid, Trina. And that's what I started to do. And my strength is coming back. I'm walking an hour a day. It's a freaking miracle.
Kudos, kudos, kudos.
Wow. I so love to hear that because in so many of our different groups, we run groups for so many different. Look, I can see Jim Jeffries is smiling there because he knows where I'm going. In so many of our groups, we tell people exercise makes a huge, huge difference. And they say, oh, I'm so tired. I can't exercise. I'm so fatigued. I just met a guy for lunch to navigate him. And he said the same thing. And I said, you start to exercise. Believe me, it's going to make a difference. So, Wendy, when you say what you say, it is like music to my ears, preaching to the choir, that if you can get yourself out there just to do a little bit, you build on it and it makes you feel so much better. So I say, God bless you. Jim Jeffries, say something.
Thank
You've
you.
got to turn on. I'm going to bring you into this conversation right now. Go ahead.
Well, I agree. I think that pushing yourself and doing something every day is very beneficial, and I try to do that myself. But I think that you can't say woe is me and sit down and say, come up with 15 excuses why you shouldn't do something. You got to get up and out and about. And I think that's very beneficial in my case. So I highly recommend it with caution and with permission from your physician.
Mhm. Great. Spencer, you got your mic on. Want to say something?
No, I have it muted because I have a secondary mute button here.
That's
So
okay.
yeah. And Wendy, I can totally agree with that. I try to at least walk, half mile a day because that's what I can push my body to do at its max. Sometimes it's less than that, sometimes it's more, just depending on the day. But yes, I will echo both Rick, Jim, and Wendy's sentiment. Get out and exercise. Even if it's just something light, go lift some milk or whatever you got to do.
Right.
Yeah, snow shoveling was pretty good for the last couple of weeks.
Agree. Yeah.
Oh,
Where are you from, Jim?
I'm sorry? I'm from Philadelphia.
So, yeah, I think most everybody here is from cold climates, right? Is anybody other than me in a warm place?
I think Trina's in a warm place, right, Trina?
Where are you, Trina?
I'm here in Georgia.
Go.
And this Georgia peach today was a very cool day. It was very damp and a little rainy, but no snow. Woo, no black ice. Woo. But we've been having a lot of power outages. So that's interesting.
Trina, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about this advocacy. We are planning in June a webinar, hopefully with Every Life. Kathleen is leading this. We're going to include all three of our rare diseases. So it'll be sarcoidosis, renal medullary cancer, which is also another health equity disease because 70% of people with renal medullary cancer exhibit sickle cell, and then male breast cancer. And we're going to hopefully have a session open to all rare diseases, but with speakers from sarcoidosis, RMC, and male breast cancer about how to organize your advocacy for a rare disease. So like I see that there may be a little spot on that panel for Trina. What do you think?
Bring it on.
Tell us about
I love a challenge. I love a challenge.
Tell us about what you're doing, Trina.
Okay, I'm part of the NORD, which is the National Organization for Rare Disorders. And each state you have your council committee, and I'm just so happen to be a part of that. And out of the 30 candidates here in the state of Georgia, I was selected as one of the 5 people to speak to our newly elected Senator Warnock regarding to rare diseases and rare disorders. So that's going down tomorrow at 2 p.m. Wish me well.
We wish
I just
you
don't
well.
want to. Thank you, thank
We're
you.
doing
I
that
don't
here
want
in New York.
see there. Yeah, yeah. I'm very disappointed with our newly elected Senator Ossoff. He has declined to speak to anyone at this point in time. Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but I will be plugging in and emailing, and hopefully sometime before the summer I can speak with his either health director or legislative assistant, somebody. But moving forward, tomorrow I just don't want to discuss, sarcoidosis with them, but I want to speak to them about the disparities with people that are middle class and Medicaid. So a lot
Good
of
for
us,
you, Trina. I'm behind you.
Thank you, thank you. So hopefully, in that discussion, I'm also going to make mention that I foresee a rare clinic here in Georgia. They can allocate funds to whatever they want. I just got to get people on board. I already spoken with my congressman for my district prior to this election, and I did follow up. But people come, people go, and his health director is not in place anymore. It's somebody else, and the office in DC compared to your home office it seems like there's a missing link. And you have these discussions, and then sometimes it just sits, and that intern or whoever leaves, and discussion doesn't come back up until you revisit it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a little irritating, but on the same note, that's my ask tomorrow. It's basically to promote opportunities for more rare disease community representation within Medicaid state decision making entities. And the other one would be to invite thought-provoking conversations of the need of having a clinic built for rare.
Wow. Now, let me ask you a question. I've always wondered about this, and this hopefully will help some of the other people here. I mean, to be able to reach out and get to somebody like Senator Warnock, especially now when he just came into office, everybody wants to talk to him. Did Nord help you with that, or was it just your own gumption? And how did you get to him to set up the meeting?
It's Nord and Every Life Foundation.
Okay.
We work hand in hand, and when opportunity comes, especially around this time of the year for rare disease, this is the time that we normally advocate. And then also, I think it's sometime late spring, early summer, you can do your local advocating. So that's how that opportunity came to be. But you don't have to wait on that. Anybody can just like pull up your email and do a Google search and see who to reach within those offices and contact them.
Wow. So I'm so impressed. And how many of you will be meeting with Warnock tomorrow?
It's 30 of us that's doing a virtual meeting, but only 5 of us will be speaking. I'm one of the 5.
Wow. Go. We love it. Wow. This is so. Has anybody else on this call done any advocating at a state or state or federal level? Yeah. So Spencer and then Chester. Welcome, Chester, of course. Welcome, Chester. But Spencer, tell us about what you did advocating.
So at one point in time, I was helping with Nord on Washington side, and we went to go speak with the Pierce County Health Department here about how to treat rare diseases such as sarcoid and male breast cancer. There were 5 of us, and basically all I had. I shared my story and basically I, laid it out like, look, there is not anything here in Pierce County to help those with rare diseases. We have to go to Seattle, and that's not convenient for us who are middle class and on Medicaid.
Right. Wow. And Chester, what sort of advocating have you done, love?
Like Trina, I've done some stuff with Nord, Every Life, RDLA, and I do a lot of stuff locally. More so on the national level. Trina and I have done some stuff together with congressional briefings, everything dealing with SARC. So, yep.
I forget where you are, Chester. Are you in Atlanta too?
No, I'm in South Carolina.
South Carolina. I knew you were down there somewhere, but I wasn't quite sure where.
Yeah, in South Carolina. So let's just say I'm not as popular amongst my local and state people because my thing is I want to make a whole lot of noise, and sometimes they just don't want to listen. So my advocacy goes toward the state level, because if I go to the state level and they get tired of me, they're going to send me back to the people who are local in the cities and towns that I'm around and stuff like that. So it's actually worked several times. A couple of senators have definitely reached out and everything like that, and we've had meetings and all that kind of stuff. So I'm making noise. It's not their kind of noise, but I am making noise. So it's working.
And
Yep.
what is the best advice? I mean, you've got people on this call who haven't advocated yet for
Okay.
the sarcoidosis or rare disease. For those of you who have, like Trina and Spencer and Shasta, what's the best advice you can give the others to get involved?
Do your research on how to get in contact with them. Make sure you do that. You take every avenue possible. If they have phone numbers, if they have email addresses, you do all of that. And you can share. You can come up with one. I guess one regular type of letter to reach out to them. And you can just change the names and all that kind of stuff like that, and just email it out. And you keep going until you get a response. Don't give up. Just keep doing it. And until you get a reply, you keep trying to get in contact with them.
And also, don't forget, Shasta, they also got a rare disease scorecard, so you can see
Exactly.
if they are participating in any of these committees.
Mhm.
Yep. And I'll echo that point. Basically, you gotta be a badger. Keep digging, keep contacting them. They will eventually get to you. It may take, it could take anywhere from a week if that's what they're into that week. It could take as long as a year. It just depends, and you just gotta stay active, stay on top of it. And what I did was, it was an everyday thing for me. I sent it out every day. Basically, I became that person that, okay, this person's contacting us over and over and over and over again. I guess we need to talk to them.
Right. So Trina, tell us what a rare disease, for those of us who don't know, what is a rare disease scorecard?
The rare disease scorecard could be found on RDLA, as Shasta had just mentioned, which is Rare Disease Legislative Advocates. And
Trina, could you repeat that again, please?
Okay, RDLA, and those are acronyms, and it means Rare Disease Legislative Advocates, and it's for both the Republicans and the diplomats. Look, you heard me, diplomats. You heard me, right?
Yeah.
That was a joke.
I like it. I love it.
And you can find it, you can pull it up for your state and see what your senators and your representatives are a part of. They have like a rare disease congressional caucus. They have different policies that they're trying to pass, which is one is like an Advancing Access to Precision Medicine Act, which is basically trying to speed it up. And that's HR, which is a House Representative Bill 4393. And there's different things like that. So, you're just doing your checks and balances so that when you speak with them, if there's a connection to what you're going through or what someone had experienced, you can use that bill, that policy in reference to your discussion.
Wow. So, I want to leave a little bit of time for Spencer, but is there anybody from the rest of you, other than those who have done any advocacy, that would like to ask your advocates any questions?
Spencer, I have a question. This is Trina.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I smiled when you mentioned middle class and Medicaid, because that's going to be part of my discussion on tomorrow. I would like to piggyback off of some of your thoughts at this moment and the frustrations that you're going through. In case I am asked, myself, I'm full-time employee for the state of Georgia. However, you already know, meeting your co-pays and your deductibles, it's just like you're missing appointments, you're missing your testing because the funds are not there. So can you just give me a little insight?
So I'm on Kaiser Permanente, so I had to gather a lot of information on the Medicare and Medicaid, but being middle class and having to go up to Seattle, that's a 45-minute to an hour trek, and it's there and back. So you're thinking 2 hours there and back plus gas, and that's gonna hurt your bottom line. That's gonna hurt your wallet, in the long run. You just have to, and I basically told him, look, you have to move something here to Pierce County. There is no exception. You got to, and you can't go to Kaiser Permanente in Tacoma. Yes, they have rheumatologists there, but the rheumatologists there aren't always specialized to treat a rare disease like sarcoidosis, like male breast cancer. They're just not. And because it's a basically urgent care, and a few other things, it's not like going up to Seattle where you have everything under the sun plus some. And then if you have to go to Seattle and you can't go to KP, they'll refer you to University of Washington, which again has everything under the sun. But again, that's gas money and everything else. That's probably lunch when you're up there. And for middle class, that does start to hurt a little bit, especially when you're going like me. I'm lucky for Seattle that I can go 2 times every month, but that 2 times adds up. And then, I can still trek to Tacoma, but that's 15 minutes, gas and everything else. So I, vouched very heavily for moving something specialty wise to the Lakewood JBLM area. And that was sort of my laydown of it for them. And because I was talking to just the Pierce County Health Department, it was a lot easier. I will mention, for those who do want to advocate, it may be scary to start with because it's very formal. Just, let your nerves fall away. It's like speaking to us here.
So Spencer, this is Trina once again. Shasta, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get to you next. Question.
Yeah.
Your state, I know each state has a Medicaid cap. For
Yep.
2021, do you know if it's at 2382 or is it above that? Because each state goes, it seems
it
really,
is. I think it's slightly under. I think it's 25 something. I don't quote
and
me on
it's,
that though.
and the resources, your assets can be no more than 2,000
Correct.
in the
Yeah.
bank? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yep, these are some of the conversations I'm going to open up tomorrow because this is ridiculous. It's no way. I'm just angry, frustrated. It has to come to an end. Shasta, how about you, sweetie? How you doing, sis?
I'm good. Oh, and to recap what you just said about the Medicaid thing, I was working with the patient who literally just applied for her disability, and she was having to she signed a waiver with her company that she was working for. She was a manager in HR. She was a supervisor, and so she has a master's degree in HR. And so when she was applying for her disability, they told her that she was too smart to receive how did they put it? They said she was too smart to not work, and she was too smart to be on disability.
See, that's
And
where
they
you need a lawyer.
and so
They do
when she
that.
got the lawyer, and fast forward, when she finally got to court and the doctors had put together her packet, they had 2 full folders of why she did not need to work. And the judge was like, "You've got to be kidding me. Disability hasn't approved her." So she had applied. She was telling me she had applied 6 years ago for disability. So they had to give her all that back pay.
Good for her.
And
Good for her.
she's literally been out of work literally for 2 years now. And so she had to sign a waiver for her job to keep paying her until she got her disability. And what she would do is, once she got the big large check, she had to end up paying her job back 28% of that. That they gave her. So she had to pay 28% of all the money that they gave her, which I'm happy about that, because she didn't have to pay all of it back. So that was a good thing. So now she's fighting Medicare because they're saying, well,
they hand out.
Right. Well, Miss Cannon, you know, their thing is she's already met her deductible for the year now. And I think her deductible, she's already spent $3,000 in medicine already. And it's just
See what I'm saying?
February. And at this time, I think we had this conversation. It was February 29th, not 29th, but 19th. And she had already met her deductible. One prescription for her was $400. So you mean to tell me Medicare is only once the insurance applies and stuff like that? Because Medicare is saying she can't keep her Cigna insurance and her Medicare, so she's gonna have to get rid of something.
Wait a
So
minute,
the
hold
four,
on. From my understanding, is the Medicare is supposed to be the third party, so they're gonna
no,
already be the last payer.
and
No,
the state of South Carolina is one or the other.
Spencer, are you
Um,
having those issues? I don't think he can hear me. Spencer?
yeah,
So with disability, yeah, can you hear me? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
how about now? Does that
yeah,
work?
we
Yes.
got you. We can hear you.
Okay. So with disability, Shasta, I'm along those same lines that basically my doctors have already prepared my folders. Now we're just playing okay, now the lawyer just has to go through the legal process. And she hasn't heard anything back. DDS has been pulling her leg. And on a different topic, Trina, 1,484 is the
Oh,
here.
oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's low. It's low.
Wow. So
But
one question,
it's
not to throw you off, but just
yeah.
one question real quick. Shasta or Spencer, y'all can answer this for me, and I know we got to wrap it up soon. All right, with the Medicaid, I know here in the state of Georgia, I have reached out to the people that does the policy for Medicaid, and then some of the directors and managers that oversees Medicaid for the state of Georgia. I was told they never heard of having a special Medicaid. I call it special Medicaid for people with rare disease and rare disorders. How about your state?
So in the state of South Carolina, Medicaid and Medicare are two different things. Medicaid covers our Medicaid here covers 85% of everything. Because when I first applied for my disability, I applied for disability when I was under the age of 21. So I'm still on Medicaid insurance. Hold on, sorry about that. I'm still on the Medicaid.
Recognizing, is there a special program waiver that you're in? That's what I'm trying to get at.
My Medicaid, all my information has sarcoidosis on it. Everything has sarcoidosis on it.
So this is state by state, then it seems
I think
like.
I think it's because my eye specialist is at Duke University, which is in North Carolina. So when I go to Duke, I have to sign a waiver that if Duke doesn't accept my insurance, which I have to do this every single time, so they already know. I have to sign a waiver until the insurance approves my visit. And that one visit at Duke each time is almost $9,000.
What?
Yep.
Spencer?
Number one, because you're dealing with the type of hospital that it is. It's an international hospital. So you have people coming from
labels.
Yeah, and then the doctor that I have is a world-renowned doctor. So you're paying him, and and every time they take a ultrasound or take a scan of my eye, that's like $1,000. So $1,000 or more. So I'm paying out the wazoo. I don't have $9,000 every 3 to 4 months to go see people.
But don't these hospitals? My understanding is that these hospitals, they allocate funds from charity. So those who cannot meet the needs, their needs are going to be met by that charity.
You have to apply for those things, and if people don't know about those things, how are they going to apply if they don't know? That's why we are advocates, so that we can help them find out these things.
Right.
Yep.
And I'll also say that the prices that we see, like that $9,000, are the prices that most people don't pay. Those are, if you like, the sticker price. but even if you were to pay yourself and go in with cash, it would be significantly reduced. I mean, there are so many different prices on a hospital pricing list that, you know, it's never clear exactly how much they actually get paid. I mean, if that bill of 9,000 was submitted to Medicaid, they probably finish up getting about $1,500, if that,
Yeah.
for all the services. Because, I mean, by the time you say, I do want to just make sure we touch base with Spencer, because you had something that you wanted to talk, a little something you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
it's gonna be real short, and then I'll jump back to Trina's point. So I have talked to my doctor about coming off Remicade in favor of the Xeljanz. For those of you who have been on the FSR website, you've probably seen the study about Xeljanz being used for sarcoid and the rheumatoid arthritis part of it. My doctor was hesitant, just because Revocade's been really good lately, but you all know sitting there for an hour or 2 hours or whatever you have to do is time consuming, takes out of your day. And I told him, look, I really want to try Xeljanz. However, if I do get a flare up, we will swap back to Remicade with no questions. And he agreed on that, and then of course he submitted the paperwork for it, and Kaiser Permanente said, no, he doesn't meet those requirements. So now I'm sitting in the appeals process of twiddling my thumbs and sort of just waiting it out. And then Trina, back to Trina and Chasta's point, I'm lucky with KP that I don't pay that big sticker price. It's $20 copay wherever I go. So, but those do add up, right? So I guess I'm
Yeah,
on the luckier side.
I was going to say, Spencer, it's like the good news and the bad news. The good news
Yeah.
is the copays are low. The bad news is the expertise isn't at KP that you really need for your sarcoidosis. And then, when you do go see a doctor who has the expertise, they don't give you the care that you need at KP.
Yep.
And there's always an upside and a downside to everything, because the same way with, Spencer, with, the copay, my copays at my local doctors are significantly low. But when I go to see the specialist, it's almost like they don't even recognize any type of state insurance. And you would think, because it is the state, and now Duke, I understand I have to pay that copay because I have to go to that appointment. But the same thing is, my boyfriend and I were talking about possible marriage and all that kind of stuff like that. If I get married tomorrow, I'm losing everything.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm losing everything.
Now we understand back in the day why some folks didn't get married because of that reason. Even to this day, for that reason.
Yep.
So I'm losing everything.
And Trina, in those days, there was a stigma to not getting married. Today, it's very different. But back in the day, you didn't get married and you were living with somebody or you had a kid. There was a big stigma to it. It wasn't.
Yep. Yes.
And it's unfair. Totally
So
unfair.
it's a lot of things, and I tell people all the time, be blessed that you're able to buy medicine, that you're able to buy groceries, that you're able to do anything, because, a lot of people need to understand that they were going, I went and I applied for some type of assistance when it came to food and all that kind of stuff. They were going to give me, with a SNAP EBT card, they were going to give me $17.
Oh yes, each state has a cap. Yes, ma'am. We're gonna get on that
And
too.
I'm
I
just
can't
sitting
wait
here
tomorrow. I'm gonna
like,
ride your hotel on this.
I'm just sitting here, and then the fact that I didn't qualify for a stimulus check.
Wow.
So I've not gotten a stimulus check this entire time, but still bills have to be paid. And I wasn't able to work. My last day at work last year was March the 13th. I did not, and I'm still not able to go back in the building full time. They were only able to bring me on part time, which means my pay was cut in more than half. They cut my pay by like 65% because I'm not in the building full time. And it's still a struggle, and stuff like that. So I mean, what can I do? There's nothing I can do.
Let me just say very quickly, I'm gonna have to run out because I've got to get over to the other meeting.
Oh,
But
okay. Sorry about that.
Be safe.
just I made Kevin an organizer before. I'm gonna make you an organizer
Okay.
right now. And Shasta, do you remember how to close out the room?
I do.
All right, love. So look, I don't know we've gotten around everybody, but there may be some things that came up, and there's been some fairly silent people, and you can have this room as long as you need it. There's no one in after, so when you're done, close out the meeting. But I think this was a pretty good meeting, and welcome
Okay.
to Michelle. I hope you'll come back. I hope you learned something from these guys.
Shasta, sure.
Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
I don't know if your state is they allocating funds to like help people. I know here in Georgia, DeKalb County, we're helping tenants and landlords with their rent, utilities, even with like DHS, Department of Human Services, they're paying people rent and no,
Well, they
no
did.
utilities,
There are
nothing.
certain no. There are certain organizations that are helping with that stuff. I think the only thing that has happened in the state of South Carolina is the fact that they put the cap on the rent. And that was over the nation.
Hmm.
That and then they had a cap for the light bills and water bills for people who were out of work. All they had to do was call and set up stuff so that the organizations or the places like our power companies and water companies would know, hey, I'm not working because of COVID. So can you stop the no payment type thing or whatever?
Hmm.
But a lot of that stuff has been lifted now.
Wow.
And so landlords were able to after January the 30th or 31st, landlords were able to start kicking people out.
What?
Yep. In the state of South Carolina. Yeah.
So I'm on the opposite end of that. Is that the states basically said, no, you can't evict somebody and kick them
Right.
out.
Yeah.
But that's also here in Washington. I think Eastern Washington's slightly different. I think that goes county by county for everybody.
Mm.
But at least here on Western Washington side, close to the Sound, it's been you cannot still.
Yeah.
And then you have to just talk to your power company about all that.
Mm.
So
Well,
it's
I
just
thought
a
Spencer,
matter of
I
talking with them.
I thought that as long as you have a letter in Shasta's situation and you're on oxygen, that the utilities company cannot close you out.
Well, what
So,
happens?
So
You want me? Oh, well, what happens in that
go
instance?
ahead.
They have a disability program with our power company, and so once they know that you have oxygen in your house, if your bill gets behind or something like that, then they'll allot you an
Go
extra
ahead.
amount of time. And then if in the event of bad weather, your home will be like one of the first ones to kind of like get the attention that's needed to hurry up and try to get your power and stuff back on in those needs. But yeah, we do have those type of programs like disability programs and stuff like that for power companies and everything like that. But you got to take an allotment. The shutdown happened March 13th of last year in our state. Everything started shutting down like on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. And in that event, a lot of people started getting laid off around April. So from April to I want to say maybe September, October, November, people accumulated these $1,000 light bills and stuff. So their thing was, we don't care how long it takes. You still gonna owe us our money because we're doing this. So it's not like they erased the amount. They just simply said
mhm,
we're not gonna cut you off, but you still have this bill that's building,
Yep.
right,
and you still have to pay it. And so my
right,
thing is, even in that event, how am I gonna pay $1,000 light bill when I start back working if I'm still just getting my regular pay? The stimulus check is going towards helping maintain everything. I still have
right,
bills that are due. So now you're in the process of having to choose what's more important, the lights or the water, the lights or the groceries, medicine or groceries. I mean, you still having to do these things because some people still are not working. Some people are only working part-time. And if you got restaurants who were closed for 6 or 7 months because they couldn't pay everybody because they were not making the amount of money that needed to be done to pay people. So they had to lay people off. A lot of jobs. One of our biggest, we have this place called the Commerce Club. The Commerce Club held, it was one of the biggest event spaces that we had. It was a club for the elite in the city of Greenville. They are officially closing on March the 19th. The city of Greenville is just now opening back up. That was one of the biggest revenue. It's like a private club type thing. And though they could not keep it open because they had to lay so many people off. They're not having events. So they lost a whole lot of money. Not only did they lose money, but the people who were a part of the club couldn't pay the membership fees because they were getting laid off of work. So it's just been one of those things like, damned if we do, damned if we don't. But on the flip side to that, it's like we have, I told my family, I said, I'm not trying to be funny, but the way people are moving and shaking in the midst of COVID, me as a patient, I've been doing it for 16 years now, having to pick and choose what I pay, having to, decide if the food is more important than the medicine that I'm having to eat, and take and all that kind of stuff like that. So this is nothing new to me. I've been masked up for 16 years. I'm okay with it. I've been alone in my room for 16 years. I'm okay with it. It's fine. So, now they're getting a taste of what it's like to be in the world of somebody who
Is Shasta there still?
Yeah, I'm here. I just stopped talking.
Okay.
I felt like I was talking too much.
So I have the upside of still being young, right? Even at 25. My parents are like, look, we know you can't work. We know you're applying for disability. Just stay here. So I've had that upside, and then obviously my father working from home, even before COVID. So I've got that lucky side, Shasta, but I do understand the moving and shaking of, okay, we got to do this, we got to do this, okay, this doctor's appointment, and sort of moving with it, right?
True.
Yeah, it's just one of those things like, you have to, it's a level of growing up and a level of maturity. So you're 25, on next Tuesday I'll be 35. So trust me, I definitely understand and feel where you're coming from. And how long has it been for you since being diagnosed, Spencer?
I was 4 years old when I was diagnosed,
so 21 years.
21, yep.
So I'm hightailing behind you. I'm at 16. So trust me, I understand. I was a teenager when I was diagnosed. So, well, I was, almost, I was 18. So yeah, I was a teenager.
What were your first signs, if you don't mind me asking? This is Michelle. What were your first signs at such a young age?
So the first signs was I was in Germany because my father was Air Force, and my parents came home and they saw my feet swollen like golf clubs, bright red. I mean, like pulsating, kind of glowing red, and they were just swollen. They accused the babysitter of saying, "Hey, did you just leave him in his rocker all day?" And then they came to find out they took me to Ramstein Air Force Base to get it looked at. By that time, as they kept investigating, they found the red bumps that were talked about earlier all over my body. I describe them as feeling hard like wet sand if you clump it together. They saw that. They saw the swollen feet and joints, and then they saw loss of bone marrow as a young kid. And immediately, by the time I was 4, I was rushed over to National Institute of Health, and they diagnosed me as the youngest sarcoid case ever. So,
wow.
And that
how
took
about you? I'm sorry. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Chester? How do you say?
Shasta, I think that's
It's Shasta, but what happened with me was I was sitting in my high school English class and I just completely blacked out and I passed out and I woke up in the hospital. Found out I was severely anemic. And they ran every test known to man, and the one test that came back positive for sarcoidosis was a kidney biopsy. So when they found sarcoidosis, they found it in my kidneys.
Wow.
So I didn't
Wow.
have a lead up. I didn't have any type of thing that led up to it because the day I passed out, I felt fine that morning. The day I passed out, I felt fine. I felt completely fine. And so it just happened like literally all of a sudden, then boom, you pass out and you wake up anemic. So it
Wow.
wasn't like a build
Spencer,
up
what was
type
the
of
medication that,
situation. It was just
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was speaking over someone. Spencer, what was the medication that you mentioned before that you wanted your doctor to try you on? Can you spell that for me?
is Xeljanz. I have to look it up on the spelling. Give me 2 seconds.
What does it start with?
It starts with an X. I'm actually going to post it right now in the chat for everybody.
I'm on the phone though, so
Okay, it's so I will spell it for you then. It is XELJANZ. And mind you, it's still the study just came out. What, Shasta and Trina, you'll know better than I will when that study came out. But basically it covers the rheumatoid arthritis section.
Was it J-A-N?
Yeah, Z is
in
Z
zebra?
is in zebra. Yep.
Oh, D is in Deborah. I got
Z
it.
is in zebra. Yep. But basically that helps. It's a form of Remicade, and as far as the study went, they had them take the pill once a week. Obviously you have to come off. Kevin and several others will attest that when they did this study, and this goes for every study, for sarcoid, they tell you need to be off prednisone for this to work, and half the time they can't get people to come off prednisone. And from there, they basically started studying, hey, does this work over Remicade? Does this work over Enbrel and Humira? Does this work over, hydrochloroquine? All the other ones that everybody else has probably been on, right? And that study, I'll have to find the study and I'll probably post it on the Facebook here pretty shortly. But that study goes very in depth. I would suggest reading it and then talking to your doctor. Hey, is this an option?
Thank you. I appreciate that. For those
Yeah.
of you that are on Remicade, are there side effects to that drug?
So, outside of, for me, it's extreme tiredness. I am down for about 3 days after taking it. Like, I cannot get out of bed. I just feel tired and weak. But then after those 3 days, I do feel, very good. I feel, on top of the world as far as sarcoid.
And is Remicade only taken by infusion?
Yes.
I've seen people in the rheumatologist office getting infusions, and I always wondered exactly what they were getting. I mean, I'm sure it's not all cases are not Remicade, but it's interesting. Anybody else have side effects from that? I think everybody went to sleep.
So one of the other things, and once again, I will attest to this till the cows come home, is getting yourself a complex case manager will help you immensely, and they can actually go and find that that study and then send it to you if if you can't find it on Facebook or on Foundation for Sarcoid Research. It's not widely circulated yet, basically. So it's hard for doctors to commit to that Xeljanz study.
Understood. Anybody else that's on it, Remicade, or have been on Remicade, any side effects besides yourself that's on still and not sleeping?
This is Kevin. I have not been on Remicade.
Kevin, you're still there.
I am.
You should mention your call.
Well, I'm going to have to get going. I want to say thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak and listen to this, and I will definitely, return, and I wish everybody, to stay well and certainly away from COVID.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Same here.
I'm going to do the same, so I hope everybody has a safe and, warmer weather, for sure.
Yes.
Other than that, everybody be safe, stay healthy, and I'm gonna head out. See y'all later.
All right, see you, Spencer. Good luck.
Hey, take care,
Good
Spencer.
night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night.
Thanks, Spencer.
Take care.
Good luck, T.
Thanks, hon.